Hello there, vinyl community. Bill here, and you're watching Bill's Box of Sound. Now, if you're watching this, most likely you've got a record collection. Maybe you only have a few dozen records, maybe 100, maybe a few hundred, or if you're like me, a few thousand. But as you keep on collecting records, you got to think, how am I going to organize these things? Whether it's records, CDs, cassettes, 8-tracks, mini discs, or even reel-to-reel tapes. Yeah, I'd love to have a sweet collection of reel-to-reel tapes, but I digress. Once you start getting a collection, you're going to want to find a way to organize these things.
Really, but I guess it looks as if you're reorganizing your records.
Yeah.
What is this, chronological?
No.
Not alphabetical.
Nope.
What?
Autobiographical.
No way.
Yep. I can tell you how I got from Deep Purple to Howlin' Wolf in just 25 moves. And if I want to find the song Landslide by Fleetwood Mac, I have to remember that I bought it for someone in the fall of 1983 pile, but didn't give it to them for personal reasons.
That sounds
Comforting.
Yes.
It is.
So, for most folks, their collection is filed alphabetical by artist. Now, within each artist is the multiple artists are filed in chronological order of release, and depending on the artist, sometimes by recording date. Now, not everybody files their music in this fashion. Some people don't file at all. Some people just have shelves of records randomly grouped. Like, oh, there's more often played records here, less often played records there. Or even worse, some records are just stored horizontally. The worst. I would say something about how to take care of your records here, but to borrow a phrase from celebrity chef Alton Brown, that's another show. Now, I want to bring to light a disturbing trend. I blame Apple, the consumer electronics company. They make wonderful computers. They make nice phones. But they screwed up the cataloging system. When iTunes first came out in 2001, they started filing solo artists by their first name. Bruce Springsteen, instead of under S for his surname, Springsteen, they put it under B. Not for boss, but for Bruce. Michael Jackson and Miles Davis are both under M. Filing under the surname is the standard, and the way that record collections, bookstores, record stores, and libraries have classified artists for generations, except for one-name artists like Madonna, and you wouldn't be caught dead filing her under C for Ciccone, which is her last name. So now, all of a sudden, you have an entire generation filing Zappa under F, Bowie under D, and Coltrane under J. For me, in my opinion, that's preposterous. However, a friend of the channel and Vinyl Monday host and journalist Abigail DeVoe, now she does it this way, and it seems to work with her. Now, I respect her a lot and trust her because, if a system works for you, it should just work. But I'm not in charge of her collection, so I'm not going to tell her what to do. And speaking of Abby, in one of her videos where she goes through her entire collection, she also revealed that she files John, Paul, George, and Ringo's solo records under the same place that she files her Beatle records. I believe she does similar things with Cream, Eric Clapton, and Derek and the Dominoes, all under E. Generally, I frown on this practice, and I may be a little wrong as to exactly how she does it. But you know what? I may be speaking out of turn. In my collection, all Mothers of Invention albums are filed under Z for Zappa because all that music is uniquely Frank Zappa music. By the same token, I recently started blending all of my Utopia records under R for Todd Rundgren. And all Return to Forever albums, they go in with Chick Corea because the musical identities of these acts are so a part of the solo artist's personality that they belong together. Also, the Dukes of Stratosphere, I don't file under D because it's actually XTC performing as a different band. And I still keep my Vandergraaf Generator albums under V and my Peter Hamill albums under H, even though Peter Hamill is pretty much the sole composer of almost all Vandergraaf Generator music. And don't even get me started with Parliament, Funkadelic, and George Clinton. I haven't solved that riddle yet. We could debate for hours on that hill. And in the case of the album by the Hindu Love Gods, what are we going to do? Fire that under Warren Zevon? File it under REM? Or just under H? It's a mess. So now all of this means one thing. You have to devise a way of organizing your collection that works for you. You. Now, I know there's lots of people that have separate sections for different genres of music. Rock and pop over here. Soul, funk, and R&B are here. They may even have a separate section for hip-hop.
Well, let me give you a hint, okay? I found my James Brown record filed under the J's instead of the B's. I don't know who taught you to alphabetize. But to top it off, he's in the rock and roll section instead of the R&B section. How can you do that?
It's too complicated, Shrivi. See, every time I pull out a record, there's this whole procedure I have to go through. I just want to hear the music, that's all.
Is it too complicated to just keep my records in the category, okay? Just put the rock and roll in with the rock and roll. Put the R&B in with the R&B. I mean, you're not going to put Charlie Parker in with the rock and roll, would you?
They'll have a shelf or a few shelves for jazz, or a designated place for your classical records, etc. You may have a special place for boxed sets, or have a separate section for your box sets. Now with me, if a box set will sit within the record shelf, I try to put them there. But with irregularly shaped boxes, I have a separate area that I put those. I mean, come on, how dare these record labels and artists mess with the typical format shape? See all these UHQRs from Acoustic Sounds and Quality Records Pressing? They're beautiful. But these jackets here are radically different than the usual record jacket. They don't exactly fit the shelf as well as normal records. So, I got a special place for them right up there. They're special. Now, for myself, I file all pop, rock, soul, jazz, R&B, country, any other musical group or artist's records under the band name or the artist's last name, with very few exceptions. I mean, I have no problem having Leonard Cohen, John Coltrane, and the Cramps being on the same shelf. Prince, Primus, Bud Powell, and the Police, they're all happy neighbors. I do keep separate sections for various artist compilations, soundtracks, and show tunes. There's also a separate section for my comedy and spoken word records. And of course, classical records have their own area as well. Now, Classical, in my opinion, is the hardest type of music to file. I tried grouping them by composer, but then there's frequent instances of multiple composers on a single record. If you've got an album that's like half Mozart, half Beethoven, you put it under M or by B. So then maybe you would file it under the performer or the orchestra or the conductor. There's no single thing that works. So what I am kind of doing, because I am still organizing my record collection, and I will until the day I die, but I mostly file classical records by label. Like all Columbia's here, Deutsche Grammophon here, Philips here, and then within the record label, numerically by catalog number, or alphanumerically. Then I have an Excel file on my computer so that I can find any LP or CD that has a Mozart composition on it by a quick glance, or even a find and search. So, there's some records that you just can't solve that problem with, like the soundtrack for the movie Amadeus. Should it be filed under A in soundtracks, or should it be filed under classical music, under M? That's where you have to make a decision. And then there's the weirdo records, environmental records, sound effect records, electronic avant-garde compositions that are packaged like classical music, instructional records, music library records, children's music, stereo test records, and calibration records. I haven't a solution for all of these, but it's not a huge area. So the simplest thing to do would probably be to put all the unclassifiable records into an area that you would call unclassifiable until you come up with something better. And if you've come up with something better, comments in the description. Yep. So, okay, now you're building up a collection. You've got a routine where you go to a record store, a thrift shop, a record store to find some new treasures to bring home and listen to. You get home and you find that you've already got a copy of it. Don't laugh too hard, because I used to make fun of this kind of situation when I saw somebody else do it. But then it happened to me. So, how do you keep this from happening? Oh, well, you may want to make a list of all your records and take it to the record store with you, or the record convention with you. Carrying around a bunch of paper, that's not a good thing to do, though. But luckily, nowadays you can use an Excel spreadsheet, you can use Google Docs, or you can use an app like Discogs. There's probably other apps that work as well. I just haven't tried any of them. I have tried Discogs, though, and it does work. If you've got them on your phone and you can get a signal on it, then when you're out shopping and you get that feeling of, I know I want this record, but do I already have it? So I have a list from my Excel spreadsheet that I keep on my phone and in the cloud. I update it every couple of months to make sure everything is as up to date as possible. And I do use the Discogs app, which has a bit of a learning curve, but I'm used to the way it works, and it comes in handy more times than I can admit. So I can't vouch for any other collecting app and its usefulness, but as technology moves forward, you may find a perfect tool that works for you to keep your list of recordings handy whenever you need it, wherever you go. And it takes a lot of work to keep it updated. But if you're listening to records while you're entering stuff into your list, hey, you're having fun anyway, aren't you? So I've tried to give you a number of different recommendations and to do what's best for you. So if you've already conquered this complicated situation and you have it under control, I want to know, What works best for you? Add your comments below to share and help fellow record nuts like myself and yourself. Just don't try to force it on anybody else like it's the law or the way you have to do it. Now, if you like what you've seen or what I've just said and enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel to get more videos. All in all, keep on collecting music. Keep on enjoying your music or whatever wonderful recorded sounds you are listening to. It's a great hobby, a wonderful hobby, because it all has to do with enjoyment. So, I had a great time. I hope you did too. Now go listen to some music. By the way, I also do live streams on Saturday nights, 10 o'clock Eastern Time. Stop on by. We'll hang out, talk about music, records, etc., 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 etc. All right, I'm going to shut up. Have a great day.